Good evening, African brothers and sisters. I hope you're doing well today. So today we are going to have to listen to a debate about Africans who, I'll say that they are woke Africans who are discussing what should Africans do with slavery. What can we do today? So I want you to, listen to this discussion about these brothers and sisters who are trying to give some sentimentals about this issue, and also listen carefully and listen to the analysis, and also tell me what to think in the comment section. This is Eugene, the African Kid, and I'll be listening with you. I'm beginning a series called Woke Africans. I'll be posting you about African debates, and so always stay tuned to listen to these debates. They might also help you gain some insights about some people. So just before that, if you're watching this video for the first time, kindly consider to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share for other people so that we can get enlightened. So without much further ado, let's watch the video.
To Africa, that Africa had slavery before the endangered slavery in America. Is that slavery not happening in America right now or in Europe? Paying you peanuts, grabbing people and putting them in jail and using them in order to get minimum wages? Is that understand is that the European needed something to justify their bad deeds. So they said African has slavery before them, or slavery were everywhere. Slavery was not everywhere. Africa, we taught our children how to farm. So from start, when they walk, we take them to farm, and that is the part that happened on the continent of Africa. And we're still doing it today. That's not slavery. And let's talk about what they're talking about. We were selling one another to the white. Is it not happening today? War criminals were not being sold out. Is it not happening in Europe right now? When people go to war and they capture you, what did they do with you? Did Britain not do that and take all their criminals, war criminals, and put them in Australia? Is that not what is happening right now? So people have to understand, Europeans use that talking point in order to justify their bad deed. And that is the exact same reason why they are not talking about reparation, because they want to tell you that slavery happened everywhere. But you have to define that slavery yourself as an African person. Were we enslaved to work our entire life in the farms for one person without wages? And like the brother said, a slave in Africa was able to marry in a royal family. I come from one of those. My great-great-great-grandmother was bought. But she was bought because my great-great-grandmother, other side, had only 4 or 5 children who were all men. And there was no woman. So he went out to buy a slave in order to bring that woman to come and marry one of the children. And they were king. And they brought a slave to come and marry. So what will happen with their children? Their children will be the king because they needed a very nice woman, children to inherit the kingdom. And that is what happened. So in my family, that's a great example of it. So when somebody says slave were not being used the way America used them. They were bought to be servants, and they had their freedom to marry and do whatever they wanted to do. They sleep in the same house. They do dance. They do enjoy everything that the owner was doing. They were not being lashed or lynched like the American and the European did. So we have to understand when they're referring to us like slavery happened everywhere, we have to stand against that perception and say, no, it wasn't like that in Africa. We have never used slave to develop our country. We were never used slave in order to get things from one point to another. We never use it that way. So we have to resist that talking point going forward. And when somebody comes and he doesn't understand it, it lies in our responsibility to educate that person. And that is what I want to put here for us to take forward. Because that slavery thing is a European talking point. Let's try and educate people so that they won't be throwing that word around like the European, because that is what they're using as an excuse to avoid paying reparation.
Hello, guys. Yeah, can I say something, guys? Can I say something? I am from Europe. My country had no slaves. But I think you're wrong. You're wrong, man. Everyone had slaves, and Africa had slaves, and Africa was fighting to keep its slaves from when the Europeans had told you to shut down your slaves. North African caliphates were taking slaves from the Europe. They were enslaving Spanish people. They were enslaving Portuguese people.
So you come in this space to educate people instead of learning.
But can you educate those of us who has read the history of
Africans need to unify. The Africans need to open up the borders just like European Union and need to unify and talk history.
And when you say
nationalism, you guys need nationalism.
When you say you are from Poland or from Europe, whatever that is, it's very important for our people to understand one thing. The current geographical delineations of modern European nation states is not the same from the colonial era. For instance, there are parts of Poland that were Germany. Back when slavery was at its height, it was.
I am not from Poland, man.
I'm not
My country was slaves from the Ottoman Empire.
I'm announcing the analogy. I'm saying the current nation states you have are not the same. They were not the same definitions during colonialism. It's not.
No, what this brother is trying to project is that
you cannot hide yourself behind the notion that my country didn't colonize anyone, because many Europeans do this, especially Eastern Europeans.
My country did not colonize anyone. My country was colonized by a Muslim. But bro, I know my country's history. What are you saying?
At the end of the day, the entire all of Europeans profited. All of them.
No, all Europeans did not profit. My country was
all of them benefited of colonial exploitation. Let me just give you a quick example. Germany didn't have to colonize the Congo to benefit of Congo rubber.
My country was
because they were all part of the same. Listen, please listen. They were all part. Listen carefully what I'm trying to say here. You did not have to be directly involved in colonizing any African nation for your country, your European country, to benefit of colonialism, because the access to African resources was granted via colonialism. You know, as I was saying, Germany didn't have to colonize the Congo to have its automobile industry.
How can we benefit out of colonialism when my country was colonized by Ottoman Empire? Can you please help me? Can you please help me understand?
Do you know where Ottoman Empire?
He interrupted me. I was the one talking. He interrupted me. What are you saying, man?
Because you're saying nonsense. You came into.
But you are the one who interrupted me. I listened to all of you. What are you guys so?
Host, like I said, listen, when you guys see me interject, you should give me the space to speak, okay? Because obviously I want to liberate from something. So 1389, you're speaking, AGC speaking. Why can't you just mute the mic and listen, then you respond afterwards? What's up?
But he muted you, he interrupted me, man. Why you guys, I listen to everyone.
It doesn't even belong here, host. These are people that are derailing us.
I love Africa.
It doesn't belong here.
People need to unify. But you guys need to stop lying to.
We don't need this kind of people. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much.
I just want to make a point very clear for all of us as Africans, because Eastern Europeans, I don't know if he's from Eastern Europe, but Eastern Europeans tend to excuse themselves from colonial exploitation. And the fact is, whether or not they were directly involved, they were part of an integrated market, meaning they had access to these resources that were being stripped away from Africa, even without direct participation. I was trying to give the example of Germany. Germany is known for its car industry. That's the power of the economy. But Germany needed rubber to build the tires, right, of the cars. Where did they get that rubber? From Belgium. Who was Belgium exploiting in the process? The Congo. We all know how many Congolese died under Leopold. So you don't have to be directly active in one colony in Africa to benefit from it. But many Eastern Europeans try to use that as an excuse, and they often come from the place. I don't know if you listen to what the guys were saying. He was like, we didn't enslave anybody. We didn't participate in colonialism, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what they do, as if they were not part of the same market. They had access to the resources of these colonies. They had access to it because of their European counterparts. But they try to excuse themselves all the time. It's annoying.
No, his point is that his country was colonized by, were enslaved by the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is not an African empire. They were barbaric to one another in Europe. They were the one killing one another there. So they have been barbarian coming to Africa and exploiting our, whether we have slavery or not. Our slavery was nothing close to their slavery techniques. We did not went and take people from one country to come and enslave them in one country. The Egyptian empire went out and fought wars, but they never settled there. When they finish fighting, they always come back. They always fall back to Egypt. We don't have that mindset of colonizing other or enslaving other group of people until you come to invade or the war happened, and then when we take you, we enslave you. But the enslavement was not barbaric like they were. So when he's saying Ottoman Empire enslaved them, that Ottoman Empire wasn't an African empire. It was them Europeans. Ottoman Empire happened in the, modern day Turkey. So if you have anything to say about the slavery, about world slavery, you should be talking about the Europeans. You did it there.
Can I just say something there, Carol?
So yeah, when that guy was, just a minute, we Africa, so when that guy was speaking, I wasn't around, but yeah, when I came up, you guys tried to explain the context or the whole situation, and yeah, to be honest, there's no way you can justify slavery, okay? Whoever did it, that was wrong, okay? Actually, I don't understand when someone tries to compare some African slavery, which is again a subject of debate, because I don't even think that really ever happened within Africa. So what if, assuming that we Africans had slaves within ourselves, or we would capture people to be slaves in some different tribe or not country, because that time it was just tribes and whatever. So for what reason would some Africans capture other Africans to keep them as slaves? For what reason? Because we understand clearly the slave trade that happened against the Africans, they were used for the Industrial Revolution. So if Africans had slaves within themselves or amongst themselves, so what were they for? Okay, and even if that happened, how would someone use that to justify slavery? Like you guys were doing it, so it's like it's an okay thing. It's good to have slaves because you guys had slaves within yourselves as well. That's nonsense. And again, slavery is something that should be condemned worldwide, okay, and by everyone who has a conscious mind. You can't justify slavery at any level. So yeah, that's not a basis that we can pick an argument from. So that was it. It's good that we expelled him and that other guy, original man, because they seem to have the same rhetoric, which is very wrong. Okay, I don't agree with that. And yeah, Songhai, you reiterated that, and it's great from you. So Rocky, you asked a question in the comments. So I don't know if you would like to speak about that. Can you now get the chance to speak about that? You commented something in the comments. I didn't grasp that clearly. So if you're around, you can go ahead, explain that. Yes, Rocky?
Yeah, hello. Greetings to everyone. I don't know, but I just cut in from the middle, so I don't know why, how it led up to this topic. But what I want to say is slavery, both from white people's perspective and ours, isn't a good thing. That was why it was abolished. You understand? So I don't think it's any relevant topic to be arguing about and insulting each other about. You understand? My point of view is slavery only happened because one person was lacking behind in innovation. And somebody might ask why. The only reason slavery happened was because somebody was using a gun, another person had spears and arrows. Those things don't match. innovatively, somebody was lacking behind. And as young people from the continent, we need to see this, and then we need to recognize this, and we need to do something about it to make sure we are in a better position should anything of that sort kind of happen again. You understand? I don't think we should go back and be arguing about who was involved, which country was involved, did Africans take part in selling people. It really doesn't matter. The only thing is, innovatively, we were lacking behind. You understand? We hadn't developed enough when they came in. They had ships 400 years ago, ships that could go on the big seas to come to your countries in Africa. Tell me how many countries in Africa now make simple boats by themselves? Boat, not ship, boat. How many?
Chief, we as African, we've been the smartest, my G. It's just the tactics that they used against us. It's just the tactics that they used against us. Nothing to do. It's just the tactics.
Yeah, in terms of the abolition, even I want to respond to that. You know, we have always been eluded because we allow the Europeans to tell us what they want to tell us. The abolition of slavery was not done because Europeans wake up one day and they were happy that they turned to godlike people, so they wanted to stop slavery. Listen carefully. When slavery was happening in America, then America was not look at the European land to stay there. But soon after they discovered that this country can be useful and we want to make it our home, they decided to stop slavery because they did not want it to have so many. At some point, the slaves were 4 to 1 white man. And they did not want that. So they wanted to stop slavery so that they can outnumber the slaves. This was the reason. If they stopped slavery because they were kind people, they wouldn't have come back to Africa to come and enslave us on the continent. So you have to understand this. When they said they abolited the slavery, no, it was not done for the purpose because they were good. Because remember...
Okay, agreed. White people are terrible people. They are bad. They didn't do it out of good or kind gesture. They were forced to abolish it. I have agreed with you. What are we doing ourselves to stop it from happening again?
We have to stop allowing them to build their military bases on our country. I know you are from Ghana. I'm from Ghana too. We have to start from home. We need to go on the street to tell Akufo-Addo that we do not want the military base in Ghana. Starting from there, and we can deliver that throughout Africa, I think that is the best way to start.
You think if we get rid of military bases from Africa, slavery will not happen again?
No, that would be a starting point. It's better than talking about it.
I think just a quick interjection. I agree with Rocky. I think I see where he's coming from. I don't agree with everything 100%. I agree with him 50%. In the sense that, in my understanding, he has a materialistic worldview. He understands that technological advancement also means or translates to military superiority, which is the thing that facilitated the oppression of Africa. There was a disparity in the sense that the dominant culture, the culture that came to colonize us, had superior means of production and therefore had a superior military in that sense.
Thank you.
So I understand when he argues from that point of view, I do understand that. However, the steps. Right, the steps require know-how, meaning you cannot jump from the state we find ourselves right now, which is pretty much like, and in terms of know-how, most.
What do you know? What do you mean by we cannot jump? We've had engineering universities for the last 15 years.
Wait, Auland. What I'm saying is, where we find ourselves right now, most African societies are still pre-industrial. Like in terms of know-how, let's say the software, what we have in our minds right now is.
And I'm saying we've had engineering universities for the last.
You can yes, but wait, I'm landing. No worries. The problem is that know-how will never have scalability and will never materialize so long as we do not have governments that do not play the neoliberal game, because the neoliberal game or the capitalist game goes against this purpose of self-sufficiency, of autonomy and independence. It needs Africa in the position it is right now. That's what the neoliberal game is at its core. It necessitates the global south as subjects, as provider of natural resources and consumer markets. This is the role they gave us.
My friend, let me help you with a little bit of an...
Without a shift in that, in the understanding of how the geopolitical, like how the neoliberal order, operates and how it perpetuates our oppression, without that understanding, you can have all the tech you want, your brain will drain out constantly. It will not really be used for the advancement of Africa. Other countries will exploit of our knowledge, of our understanding, of our intellectuals. They will not stay in the continent because they will not prosper there. They will not become the best version of themselves.
Yes.
Live up to their actual potential. So without this ideological shift, all these arguments we are having will not materialize so long as our leaders, and that goes to what Shongai was saying, our leaders, right? Like if we have puppet leaders, you can have intellectuals as you want, you can have potential talent as you want in Africa. It will bring nothing.
I do understand your point, but what I'm saying is the same thing as what you're saying. Well, I want to make an example, right? There was a leader in Ghana, right, some years back. He recognized that for Africa to be powerful enough to trade equally with our neighbors in the West, we have to have some dominance in security and defense. He started plans for nuclear reactors, nuclear plants, trying to make atomic bombs and stuff, because that was the new kids on the street. That was what people were making that time. And I remember a little bit from reading that he got alliance from countries that had uranium and other natural resources to help him build